Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Integrated Self podcast. I hope you guys are having an amazing week. Last week, we did an episode on talking a little bit about breakups and self worth and kind of the things that we go through, when we go through certain breakups and certain endings of relationships and, how it can start to really make us feel a certain way about ourselves if we're not careful about what we're choosing to take away from these experiences. And, sometimes it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of space from that relationship to really see it clearly, right? Like when we are in a relationship, it's kind of hard to see things compared to maybe an outsider's point of view. And so last week, I kind of opened up a little bit about a couple of breakups that ended pretty crazily for me, and kind of the mindset that I was in and how I ended up healing and choosing to release a lot of those things that I kind of absorbed from those breakups and how they kind of made me feel about myself and all those things. And that's kind of the purpose of this podcast, is for me to get a little bit more intimate about my journey, because again, like I'll say this over and over again, that one of the things that really helps me connect to my mentors and the people that I find in this community is the fact that people are just open and vulnerable about what they're going through. And especially in a position like me, like as a holistic health practitioner, I think it's really important for my future clients and people that, potential clients, to hear my journey and hear what I was able to overcome and heal, and, what I'm really about over here. And I'm an open book. So, today is Thanksgiving. If you're listening to it on Thanksgiving, this episode is airing and launching on Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody, if you celebrate Thanksgiving. Holidays, honestly, I just want to talk about this really quick because I don't know. Maybe you are someone that still, lives with your parents, or maybe you are an adult that watches this that's fully on your own. But I'm kind of going through the past couple of years, because I've lived on my own for quite some time now. But it's very interesting when the holidays come around, because my parents are divorced and I also have my boyfriend. So it's kind of like trying to see four families at once in one day. So the holiday season is kind of challenging because, when you're a kid, you just wake up with your parents at your own house and you can just go with your parents wherever your plans are. And as an adult, it's kind of like, all right, making time, making sure that you're seeing people and making time to see everybody. And it's a struggle sometimes. So if you feel like the stress of the holiday season already, just know that you're not alone. But at the same time, the holidays are a time for family, a time for coming together, a time for celebration and laughter and having fun. So I hope that whatever that looks like for you, right? And one of the things that we've been doing as well the past couple of years is a Friendsgiving, which I really, really enjoy. And it's kind of like a way where we can kind of set our own tradition and get together with friends that feel like family. And that's really, really fun as well. So, again, like if you're feeling kind of stressed out about the holidays, just understand that you're only one person, right? You're only one family, and you can't see everybody, especially those with big, big families. And if you have parents that have split or something like that, and it makes it really hard to get to see everybody and schedules and all the things. And just know that my heart's with you. And I totally understand that the holiday season can be daunting for some people. And I totally understand that. So I'm sending you so much love this holiday season. Try to make time for yourself. Ask yourself, like, where do I want to be? Who do I want to be around? And just make the best out of it, whatever that looks like for you. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And I thought it would only be fitting to kind of talk about today, to talk about gratitude. And I actually recorded, so this is going to be my third video podcast. So if you're watching me on YouTube or you're just listening to me, hello, on Spotify, this is my third video podcast. And so one of my audio podcasts, I think this is episode 13 that you're listening to now, and I have covered gratitude on one of my earlier podcasts, but I really want to talk about it only, because today is Thanksgiving, but also because there's more that I want to bring up. And this kind of started with a conversation last night that I had with my boyfriend, because we were kind of talking about um, celebrities and the shows that we watch and the podcasts that we watch. And my boyfriend kind of made a comment. It wasn't rude, but it was kind of, I forget what he said. Um, we were watching like a podcast of famous people, or maybe I brought up the Kardashians or something, because I watch the Kardashians here and there. I kind of was late to the whole reality TV kind of situation, so I'm not like, I haven't been watching them for years or anything, but I've been watching the newer seasons, and my boyfriend kind of thought that that was strange because I'm really not one to be obsessed with like celebrity culture and hold these people on high pedestals. And I honestly like don't really relate to the Kardashians in any way. But I was telling him, I'm like, the reason why I watch these shows that a lot of people would look at someone like me that's very spiritual and holistic to be like, why would you watch the Kardashians? And I told my boyfriend, like, I watch the Kardashians not because of the drama. Like, I could give two shits about the drama. It's more so the lifestyle, the way they live their lives, the things that they have. And I'm not a material person either. It's not really that, but it's more so to open my mind to other ways of living, like other realities. I was explaining this to him in a way where I was saying your mind is only able to perceive what it is open to. Okay. So essentially, by watching other people, by exposing your mind to other realities, other ways of living, people that make a lot of money, right? Like by exposing your mind to different things, you start to kind of see that as a possibility for yourself, right? So if you don't follow people that make a lot of money, if you're not listening to financial podcasts, if you aren't, putting yourselves in rooms or surrounding yourself with people that make a lot of money, and that's your goal, it's going to be really hard for you to kind of visualize that and feel into what that would feel like, which is what essentially attracts that experience and that abundance to ourselves. And so your mind is essentially the confines in which you believe is possible for you and what you believe is possible for you. So if in the beginning of my journey, I used to see people on TikTok saying, business coaches saying like I make 20 grand a month, and my perception, since I wasn't exposing myself to those people yet, anytime that I heard $20,000 a month, my brain was like, that's so crazy, right? And I knew that, as a business owner, I knew that I should be putting myself in rooms that I see myself in the future. Like you have to expose your mind to things that you want before you actually experience them. So, for example, if you want to drive an Audi RQ8 or whatever they're called now, one way for you to expose yourself to the possibility of that happening for you and you actually driving that car is you going to test drive that car right now to get your body and mind into that reality of this is it, I'm touching it, like I'm feeling it, I'm driving it, it's happening right now, right? And even though you can't afford the car right now and you're not going to buy it, by you test driving that car, you're now opening your mind to this could happen for me, I've experienced it. So I was telling him, like, the reason why I watch the Kardashians is to see their lifestyle and to kind of open my mind to, a reality. Not that I want to live a Kardashian lifestyle or anything like that, but it's more so like seeing their businesses and see their schedule and their time freedom and see how they delegate certain things, right? As being business women. And so I kind of look at those things. I'm not obsessed with like, the actual material things. It's more so like how if this is possible for them, it's possible for anybody, right? Like seeing somebody else do something, it means that it's you can do it too, right? That doesn't mean that it's going to be super easy and you don't have to learn anything and there aren't going to be any hiccups. It just means that it's been done before, you can do it as well, right? That doesn't mean that you have to be a certain way or a certain kind of person to do something. Like if someone can do something, that means that you can do it as well if you truly wanted to, right? They're showing you that it's possible. And that doesn't mean that there's anything different about you. Like maybe you just have to learn how to actually do the thing, but you could still do it and achieve the same results. So I was telling him like by exposing our minds to things that we want to experience, we're kind of calling those experiences into ourselves. It really involves you having to expose your mind and your body, meaning you have to feel into that experience as well. So, like going back to the car example, if you really wanted that car, by you test driving that car not only are you like actually feeling it and you're getting the experience of driving the car, but you're feeling the corresponding feelings of that experience. So you're probably feeling really successful, right? Even though you haven't bought the actual car and you're test driving it, you're kind of getting a taste of that. You're kind of feeling like a boss in that car. You're kind of feeling like a successful person. You're feeling that rich, luxurious feeling when you're in that car. And essentially, that's why we want things, right? Like I tell my clients all the time, and I'll say this now, like people are like, I just want more money. I want money, right? And you'll say, I just want to be rich. Okay, fair, right? But why? Because it's really not the money that you want to have. Because, right, like if you had $10 million dollars in your bank account right now, it's not the money that you want. It's essentially the feeling you're going to feel, right? So, how are you going to feel when you log into your bank account and see that you have $10 million dollars in there? You're going to feel stable. You're going to feel successful. You're going to feel like, wow, I don't have to worry about paying my bills anymore. You're not going to feel stressed, right? So you're going to feel different feelings. And that's essentially what you desire. It's not the money being in the account that makes you feel fulfilled. It's the feeling of I'm stable now. I don't have to worry about anything, right? It's the freedom that you desire. Same thing with like if you said I want $10 million dollars and I said, "Okay, great. Why?" And you say, "Because I just want to be able to buy the groceries I want to buy and not check my bank account at the store. I just want to be able to afford weekly massages for my lymphatic system. You know, like I want to be able to invest in my health and wellness. I want to be able to create a business, right?" So it goes further than the money. So when anybody tells me their desires and they say they want money, I say, okay, the money is a tool. The money is a tool for what you actually want. The money allows you to feel the feelings that you want to feel and have the experiences you want to feel. So, what exactly are you going to do with the money? And that's probably why a lot of people that are trying to manifest large sums of money don't actually achieve that because they're only attaching to the material thing, the money, and not what they're using the money for and how they're going to be what they're using it for and how they're going to feel. So, for me, of course, I want money. Everyone does, but it's more so like I want to know that I'm making an impact in communities. I want to know that I'm helping and being of service to people. I want to feel fulfilled with my clients' results. That's what I want. I don't want just the money that comes from that. I want the successful business and the clients with the results. You know what I'm saying? So it goes deeper than that. And I think that again, going back to this whole idea of exposing your mind to what you want before you have that thing, right? So let's say you're in a relationship and you want to feel closer to that person. You kind of have to visualize what that looks like. Like, how are you going to act different in the relationship? What are the things you're going to say? How are you going to respond to that person when they say something to you to create more of that feeling, to create more of that closeness, right? It starts with the way that you start looking at that situation. So it's really like any feeling that you want to feel is available to you. And it's more so the experience that you want to have and what that brings, not the actual money, right? So again, if you want a sports car, that's great. But why do you want the sports car? What is your intention for that? And by clarifying the intention, you get closer and closer to actually matching yourself to that desire. So if you want a car, it's like, okay, my question would be why? Right? Like why do you want that car then compared to like a dusty old 2008 like freaking Honda? Right? Like why do you want that car? How are you going to feel? How is that going to change your life? Like how are you going to feel about yourself in that car? By asking ourselves these questions, you might start to realize that your intention is actually not in the right place. So if I said, why do you want that car? And you say, well, I want everyone to know I'm successful, then that's telling me that you have some sort of underlying wound or some kind of belief about yourself that you have to prove to other people and show people that you are successful instead of just knowing that you're successful and not feeling like you have to prove that to anybody, right? So it's kind of like getting really, really down to the root of our intention and why we want certain things. It kind of helps us understand ourselves better, understands what that thing's going to bring us and how we can actually move towards that desire becoming real for us. So when I mentioned gratitude, Gratitude is such a huge thing to be practicing along this journey. If you're manifesting, if you're on your spiritual journey, if you're healing, and it's because the universe loves gratitude. And going back to this whole topic of like exposing your mind to things that you desire, it's almost like you kind of start to change the way that you think by practicing gratitude. And I mentioned this I kind of explained it in a different way in the other episode, but I really want to talk about this because this might help you understand why gratitude is so important. Because essentially, what you're doing by practicing gratitude is obviously pointing out things that you're grateful for, right? And the universe loves that. And so, what you're training your mind to do is essentially point out the things to yourself that are going right, that are going well, that are abundant around you. It's like a constant reminder of, yeah, that's working out for me. I'm grateful for that. That's what I have, right? Instead of taking these things for granted. Because if you take everything for granted and you're not grateful for what you have, you're living in lack because you're saying, I don't like what I have now. I want better, right? But what's going on there is, and the universe's perspective, why would they give you more things or expand your life if you're not even grateful for the things that you have right now? Right? Like that's not an unconditionally loving spiritual person. Right? Like think about you teaching a child this lesson. Like would you want, if your kid is ungrateful for what they have, why would you give them more things if they're already practicing that they're not grateful and they're not noticing how privileged they are, how grateful they could be? It's really learning to start you're training your mind to point out the things in your life that are going well for you, that you appreciate, right? And the more that you fuel that those things, right? If the more you say I'm grateful for my pets, I'm grateful for my children, my spouse, my house, the more you're fueling those things with positive energy, the more you're pointing out to the universe, yeah, I see that I'm blessed. I know that I'm blessed, and they're going to want to shower you more. This is an abundant mindset. And this kind of goes along with like, when you buy a new car or you buy something and you start to see it everywhere. So before you never noticed that certain model of car, but since you just bought it, you start to see it everywhere. And that's because before your mind wasn't exposed to this model. It wasn't something your brain cared about. And now, since you have it, your brain starts to point it out everywhere. And so, this is kind of what mindset work does, and like embodying an abundant mindset does for you is you start to train your brain to point things out that are going well for you. So, you're actually spending more time thinking about gratitude, about abundance, about seeing and pointing out things in your environment that are going well, instead of sitting in that lack mindset and saying, that's not working out, that's not right, that's not enough, blah, blah, blah. You're creating separation in your mind. You're pointing out the things that aren't going well, right? And so, what that's telling the universe is that you live in lack, right? That you don't believe you have enough, that you're not secure in what you have. And that might be true, right? Like, I've had points in my life where I haven't had that much money. And of course, you're going to think to yourself, like, oh no, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Like, there are natural worries that come along with that. But the more and more that you sit in that lack energy, the more you manifest more of that. Wherever your intention and energy is going, like if you're constantly worrying about money and checking your bank account, and you're in an anxious energy when it comes to money, that means that like energetically, money doesn't want to come to you. Money doesn't want to hang out with you because you are choosing to, like, your energy towards money is that, oh, it's icky, like I'm scared of money, I'm scared to look at my bank account. That's not an open energy towards money. That's not, that same person can't also be in an energy of money is always coming to me, money flows easily in and out of my bank account, there's always enough in my bank account, I always have more than I need, right? You can't be in both of those energies. And we know that money comes to us based on us having a good relationship to it, right? So essentially, we manifest things in our life based on how we feel. So if you feel insecure and unstable in your reality, like you're living in a lack mindset or in a scarcity mindset, and you're constantly feeling that lack and that instability within you, it's going to create other circumstances and problems regarding that exact problem in your reality, right? So when you can kind of start and challenge yourself to look at money as a tool, as an energy, as there's plenty to go around for everybody, because there is, and that I deserve to make money. Money comes to me all the time. When I sleep, I make money. When I breathe, I make money. Everything is always possible for me. I don't know. Maybe today when I go to my mailbox, there's a $5,000 check in it. I don't know. It's a possibility. How can you tell me that that's impossible? Right? Stability in our external reality comes from when we feel stable, when we feel secure, when we know and have trust and faith in the divine that everything will always work out for us, right? So it's really training your mind to be grateful, right? To point out the things in your reality that are going well. And this helps you like kind of embody an abundant mindset because you're constantly celebrating yourself, prioritizing yourself, congratulating yourself for the accomplishments you have, acknowledging all the ways that spirit constantly blesses you every single day, right? And this doesn't mean that it has to be with actual gifts and material items and money. It could be, you know what? I'm so grateful today that I avoided that accident, or I almost got hit and I didn't. Thank you. Or I'm so grateful that I was able to stop at the store and get some goodies for tonight's dinner. Or I'm so grateful that we went out to dinner with our friends and we were able to splurge and have a really nice time. So it's learning to practice being grateful for everything. So even when it comes down to paying bills, be grateful that you can pay bills. It's not that I have to pay my bills, it's I get to pay my bills. That's a different mindset. That's a champion mindset. That's an abundant mindset. Because essentially that money is going towards your house. It's going towards your food, and you need those things to survive. So the fact that you have the money to have those things is blessed. You're blessed. Right? So it's like learning at the smallest levels to acknowledge, you know what? When I swipe my card for my groceries, I'm grateful. It's not me. That's different than standing there swiping your card being like, oh, $150 for groceries. Because that's showing money that you're not grateful for it. It's there and you get to spend it for food, and your attitude, your energy the whole time is, oh my gosh, this is so much money, right? So why would the universe give you thousands of dollars? Or why, if you're open to wanting to have more money, it starts with practicing your relationship to money and being grateful for everything that you have. So gratitude plays such an important place in this spiritual journey, in this journey of manifestation, spiritual growth and evolution, because essentially it's acknowledging the ways that God, spirit, the universe is working around us, and we're seeing that, right? So it's learning to acknowledge the ways around you that you are blessed, because the more that you acknowledge it, the more your brain acknowledges more, the more that you start to really truly know and believe that you are an abundant being, because you're choosing to see it around yourself all the time. And this is how you start moving towards success. A successful person would come across an issue, and instead of focusing on the problem, they focus on the solution. They're like, okay, this is teaching me that this doesn't work, so we need to find a way to do this better, and this and that, and then we're going to do that, right? Like they're very focused and very positive moving through that obstacle, instead of being like, oh my gosh, of course we have a problem, like, creating more instability, drama, stress, fear, instead of sitting there and choosing to be like, you know what? I'm going to come across hardship. I'm going to come across obstacles in my life. God never ever promised anybody a perfect pain-free life. Right? Pain comes along with us being human beings. Everyone experiences hardships, low times, right? Like life isn't supposed to be just freaking awesome all the time. We wouldn't learn anything. We wouldn't grow. We wouldn't change. So accepting that things in your life are going to happen. So when those things actually do happen and you have a solution focused mindset, a mindset rooted in faith, a mindset rooted in gratitude, you come across that problem and you're like, okay, here's what's going on. What can I learn from this? What's the lesson here? And how can I show the universe that I'm moving through this problem and I've learned from all the other things that I've learned? How can I really show up at my best and move through this issue with grace, with self-love and gratitude, and know that everything will always work out for me, right? So it's choosing to embrace these obstacles, embrace the flow of life. And that's what I think. Like, honestly, I was watching a Bobby Altoff podcast yesterday. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but she kind of like blew up in the podcasting space. And she kind of if you don't know who that is, she's a mother, and she kind of like uses this awkward personality to interview celebrities. So basically, she interviews celebrities, and it's kind of like a weird interview because she's not asking these celebrities like normal questions that you would expect someone to ask these huge celebrities. She's just acting super awkward. So the most interesting conversations occur. And she was interviewing I don't even know who she was interviewing. I forget who it was, but she was talking to him, and she was saying like like she was talking about her depression because she's I think I don't know if she's diagnosed with depression, but she says she's, depressed, and she's on medication for that and all the things. And she was kind of saying like, yeah, well, like she's very successful. She's getting almost 1 million views per podcast. You'd think that she'd be super stoked that her career is taking off. And anytime I noticed any other interview that she has with a celebrity, and they point out the positive side, they're like, "Wow, you blew up overnight. You're really successful." And she's like, "No, I'm not." She like points out the negative even when people are pointing out the positive. And so in this particular interview, the guy that she was interviewing kind of popped off on her and was like, you expect life to be perfect all the time, and instead of understanding that life has highs and lows, and the more that you can like flow in the highs and lows and just accept, you know what, I'm going through a hard time right now, but that's temporary, it's not going to last forever. And she's like, yeah, like you could tell she was like, I guess, and I just thought that was a really good point to make, that a lot of these people kind of hit the low, and then they just kind of ride in that low instead of understanding that that low is a temporary low, right? And that not everything can go perfectly all the time for us, and that we just have to, the more you can flow with life and kind of surrender to whatever's going on and choose to move through that with love for yourself and a solution focused abundant mindset, the less resistance you create for yourself, and the less things start to manifest that you don't actually desire because you're consciously moving through that situation. And so I just wanted to point out today that gratitude is such an important piece of the puzzle because it starts to train your mind to start pointing out things to you. Because what happens is, if you're not seeing the blessings around you, you're essentially unconscious to them. They're right there in your face, but you're not acknowledging them. And it's a perfect way for you to start to embody an abundant mindset by training yourself to see the abundance around you and to point it out. And the more that you point it out, the more that comes because you're showing the universe, I'm grateful for this. And they're like, well, let's give you some more. Like the universe wants to bless you. Okay, the universe wants to shower you. There's no trickery, there's no malice with the universe. The universe and the spirit, God, whatever your words are, is an unconditionally loving being or energy, whatever you want to describe it as, but they are here for you. Like they're here to support you, to guide you, to make sure that you came here to do what you came here to do, and to guide you to that timeline that you're the most abundant, successful, confident, peaceful person. Like that's the purpose of this life. And I truly believe that in the beginning of my spiritual journey, and even before I started healing, before I started developing my faith and practicing these things, honestly say I wasn't living at that time in my life. Because now that I practice gratitude, and this didn't happen immediately, but the more and more you feel the energy of gratitude, the more you feel like it's just like a not like a drug, because that gives it like a negative context, but it's more so like it feels so good in your body to feel that energy and to know, like, to really send that energy out into the universe. It feels so amazing. And like I've had now throughout like developing my faith and throughout working on myself and healing my wounds and really releasing any conditionings that are, kind of causing resistance for me, the more and more that I've gotten deeper and peeled back the layers of the onion and developed my spirituality and my relationship to myself, I've had countless times of moments where I've literally cried like in happiness of gratitude of gratitude for the universe, for myself, for acknowledging myself and all the healing that I've done, and kind of reflecting on who I used to be and who I am now. I could cry right now just thinking about that, being so grateful for my younger self and who I am now and the divine and how everything has happened in my life perfectly, like as perfectly as it was meant to. And just like that gratitude, you guys, can it's so healing, just feeling it and allowing yourself to like cry it out like in a positive way. I've had moments in my life where I've just cried, bawled my eyes out in gratitude and of just unconditional love for the divine, for God. And I feel like if you haven't ever felt that way, that deep seated feeling of gratitude, I truly don't believe you have lived yet. You haven't seen the magic that exists in this world. You haven't seen yourself the way that the divine sees you. And once you do and you do this work, it is so liberating. It is so rewarding. You finally like feel that you're not alone, right? And gratitude is just like the first step. And I don't think that it's something that you just start in the beginning of your journey and then you stop doing. It's something that I continuously practice. I'm always practicing gratitude. And, there's so many different ways you can do it. It can be you just like acknowledging, thinking out into your mind, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for these groceries as you're swiping your card. It can be an internal thing that you're saying. You can write it down, right? Like the act of writing stuff down energetically releases that from us. So if you practice gratitude, you want to write down all the things you're grateful for in the morning or at night. You can do like a journaling practice. You can do it in your head. Like anytime that you feel grateful for anything, you can just say it, even if you're around people, right? No one's going to know. Or just like sometimes when I go on a walk with my dog, like we'll come around the building and I'll just see the sunset. And I'm like, oh, that sunset's so beautiful. Like God is so beautiful. I'm so grateful that for nature and for to see the beauty this way of the earth. Like anything, you guys, anything. Be grateful for the air you get to breathe, the water as it, goes down. It's so refreshing. Thank you for this water. Literally anything, you guys. Continuously practice gratitude because you're going to start to see the shifts. You're going to start to see the shifts in your perception because the more you do this, I promise you, bestie, I promise you that you're going to have a moment where you have been practicing gratitude and then something actually happens, right? So you might have an obstacle in your life or a problem arise out of your control, and you see the shift in your mind, in your mindset, and how you approach that problem. And this is where it starts to get rewarding, because instead of your old self being like, oh my gosh, no way, I can't believe that happened, what are we gonna do, blah, 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 blah. No, your new self might do something like, oh, well, that's okay. And, at least you have that. Or at least we can do, let's just call tomorrow solution, right? Your mind is going to immediately point out the positive. And you might even be like, wait, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I said that. Or I can't believe that this actually wasn't that bad to move through. And I actually moved through it with grace and patience. And I saw the positive side to it, which makes the negative side or the problem actually not be and feel so much as a problem. This is where the real shift takes place in real life scenarios, where you come across situations where you acknowledge that you're shifting in real time and you see that this is actually working, because what you're doing is changing that brain filter. There's a filter in your brain called the reticular activating system. And what happens is everything that your body senses, like you could be walking down the street, everything that's going on around you goes into your brain, right? And your brain basically filters out and is like, okay, that's not important. It's not important for them to know that a blue truck just passed, right? It's not important to them to know and focus on uh the bird that just flew into the woods, right? So when you're walking, you're not really focused on those things. So your brain picks what it's showing to you in your environment. And that's what you end up seeing. So when you start to choose to see the gratitude around you, to see the blessings around you, you're kind of changing that filter in your brain. So now your brain's like, oh, let them see that bird. Let them focus on the sunset. All the things that you've been pointing out to your brain naturally starts pointing them out to you now, because you've changed that reticular activating system in your brain. You've changed the filter. You're programming the filter to say, I want you to point this and this out to me. instead of the problems and the stress and the drama. I want you to point out the abundance and the blessings and the miracles, right? That's the shift. And then once you actually have problems in your real life that come in, unexpectedly or whatever it is, and you have to deal with them, you start to see that that filter is like, oh, but you know, you let's just call tomorrow, instead of your old self being like, oh my gosh, well, I don't know what to do because I don't have. No, you're not like that anymore because you've worked on this. You've allowed yourself to point out new perspectives, new avenues, new angles to look at the situation. And therefore, you're not feeling the corresponding emotions of stress, of fear, of drama, of instability. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. I'm lost. No. And obviously, this takes time, right? It's not like you practice gratitude 3 times a day and then the next day you're a completely different person. This is continuous work, right? And that's why I work with clients that truly are committed, because I've had clients that come to me and I can just tell off the bat because their questions are very telling as to like where their intention lies. And I totally get it. I'm not judging them for any of this, but it tells me like where you're at, and kind of what blocks and resistance that you currently hold. So, for example, I might get a DM from someone and they're like, "Can I meet with you? I want to manifest my ex back." And that's when I'm like, I don't, that's not how I roll. That's not how I look at the universe and the divine and God. And, how would you feel? That's what I say to them. I'm like, well, how would you feel if your ex that you don't like is trying to manifest you back and they're messing with your energy? I wouldn't like that. And so it's really not about manifesting a specific person. It's about manifesting how you want to feel, and the right person will be attracted to you, right? Manifesting getting yourself in the right energy and thinking about yourself and identifying the qualities that you want to attract to yourself, not the actual person themselves, right? So that's just a little side thing, but I just want to talk about gratitude because I think on social media, you might think, oh, yeah, just be grateful for certain things, but it goes deeper than that. You can change your biology. You can change the way that you react to situations. You can change the trajectory of your life because you're changing the way that you handle certain obstacles, which changes the outcome that comes from that, the result of that problem based on how you move through that. And so basically what you're doing is changing your life from the inside out by choosing to expand your mind, expand your consciousness, allow yourself to not attach to a certain problem and just see it for all that it is and move through it with grace and self-love. And this is where I think the flow comes from. Learning to flow again through the highs and lows of life instead of choosing to be like, because what happens is if you don't understand that life just naturally has highs and lows, is when you're in a high, you recognize that things are really good. So you're basically expecting the other shoe to drop. So you're not fully enjoying the high moments. And then when you're in the low moments, you assume like, oh my gosh, this is going to last forever. Like, of course, this is happening. You know what I'm saying? So you're not even really happy in the high moments. And then you're really unhappy in the low moments. And the more and more that you can kind of create this baseline for yourself where it's kind of like, I have the mindset to get me through anything. I'm grateful for everything that I have, and I constantly see that around me. I choose to move through everything in my life with the attitude of I have my back. No matter what happens to me or around me, I know that I've got me, and I will move through this situation with the most knowledge and wisdom that I have, and just knowing that I have the divine to protect me and support me and to guide me through this, right? Like this is the abundance mindset that we're looking for. And so I have created a new program called the Inner Guidance Academy. And I'm so freaking excited about this program because essentially I actually created this program last year, and it was essentially just teaching people how to connect to their intuition, but I've kind of created this to be more of a well-rounded program in mind, body, and spirit. So in this is an 8-week program. And in this program, I kind of made it thinking about my spiritual besties and thinking about how that's kind of what I call my besties, on my social medias. Um, and I kind of just started thinking about myself in the beginning of my journey and like what I needed, what I struggled with, and what sort of things like took me a while to implement. And, you know, at the same time as, as I was moving through my journey, I was learning and studying these things. So I was my own first client, which is kind of why it took me a while to implement certain things, because I was studying them and like why it works and how it works. And then I would practice it on myself. So, it I kind of I don't want to say I wasted a lot of time in my life like developing these skills, but I took my time with them. And so now I'm in the position where I very much understand how all of this works, and I want to start teaching it to people, because again, like I feel like a lot of us on this spiritual journey kind of feel like alone in it. Maybe you don't have a lot of people around you in your life that like are you're doing this spiritual journey with, and you can talk to about and talk about your synchronicities and your intuition and stuff. And at the time in the beginning of my journey, I wish there was like a program or someone that I trusted that I could go to and learn from them and have like an actionable formula, a step by step on like, okay, here's how you know that that's your intuition, here's how you don't, right? Like it took a lot of trial and error for me. And your intuition is something that you don't trust right away. So I kind of wanted to make a clear step by step program to teach people these things that I get questions about all the time, like intuition, right? And maybe you're a spiritual person and you see readings, and in the reading, the person's like, listen to your intuition. And you're like, how do I trust it? Right? Like, I kind of feel like my intuition's speaking up to me, but do I trust it? Right. So I'm teaching you all about intuition. We're going to be practicing intuition. We're going to be doing nervous system regulation. So I'm going to be teaching you guys how to meditate. We're going to be expanding our energy, connecting to our energy centers. Like you're really going to start seeing shifts in your life because we're actually doing these things together, right? Like I feel like in the beginning of my journey, I would, save articles, I would save videos, I would save, certain things and kind of just have all this information, but no actual way to implement it, right? So if you're someone online or on TikTok that's in the spiritual space and you're like saving people's videos, like here's three steps to do X, Y, and Z, and you're the one that's kind of like saving them, but you don't know how to actually practice these things, and you feel like it's been months or like a year and you haven't seen that much progress in your reality because you're kind of just taking little bits of information and trying to like implement it. That's why I created this program, like a one-stop shop for all of my spiritual besties to come and learn and start to see the magic around you. So we're doing a lot more than that. We're doing so you're going to learn how to meditate, you're going to learn how to trust and understand how your intuition speaks to you. We're going to be talking about synchronicity and how the universe speaks to us, so you can literally start seeing the magic around you, so you know that you're like doing this right, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? And you can start trusting yourself and trusting the guidance that you're receiving, and use it to actually align yourself to the life that you want, the feelings you want to feel, the body you want to have, the mindset you want to have, right? So we're also going to be talking about like trust, how to trust the divine, like problems and things that you might come across and your inability maybe to trust, how to have an abundant mindset, right? Like I'm going to be teaching about affirmations and how to know and have this abundant mindset that I've been talking about this episode about, like, how do I know that God hears me? You know, how do I trust that everything's always working out for me? How do I start to embody the mindset that I am an abundant being? I am a spiritual being in a human experience, right? So it's really learning these things. It's more of a program on the spiritual side of things, and we're going to be learning, how to be still to receive clarity, how to meditate, how to listen to your intuition, how to embody an abundant mindset, and so much more. So I'm so freaking excited. And we're going to have like a group chat. We're going to have a group chat for everybody to be able to talk, be like, oh, I listened to my intuition today and here's where it led me and here's what I experienced. We're going to be doing Q&As where we can like hop on a call together and we can all talk, and like you guys can ask your questions. But I'm so freaking excited because on the beginning of my journey, I've been on this spiritual and healing journey, mind, body, soul journey for about 6 years now. And so I kind of just put together an 8-week program for those of you guys that really feel like you are committed, like you are inspired by this journey, you're excited, you know that you are here for a reason, and you want to start seeing the magic around you, you want to create the life of your dreams, and actualize that vision that you've had in your mind for yourself this whole time. And I'm the first to tell you, I'll be the first to empower you and hold you accountable and be like, everything is possible for all of us. There's infinite possibilities. And those possibilities open up to us when we can open up our mind and open up our faith to that possibility being available to us, right? So I cannot wait. I'm going to be sharing more about this as the weeks to come, especially on my TikTok and especially on my Instagram. So if you guys want to come follow me on there and hear more about this program, and I will put the information below as well, because the people that are going to be on the wait list for the program actually receive a discount. So if you are interested in all the things that I've been saying, you want to learn more, and you want to be on that wait list to receive a discount, because I'm going to open the program and the people on the wait list will get the discount. And then after a certain period of time that goes by, the price will be raised to full price. So you want to get in, you want to be on the wait list to receive a discount and get in before the price raises. And I cannot wait, you guys, because meditation, intuition, discernment, having faith, trusting, these are all skills. These are all things that we develop along this journey. And I want to be the person, the practitioner that's there, that helps you throughout all this. And I really want to work with people that are ready and excited and, have an open mind, have an open heart, and just really want to develop their spirituality and really get closer to the divine and start seeing the magic actually occur around you, start seeing the synchronicities and follow the guidance that you're receiving. So I cannot wait for this, and stay tuned. Follow me on social media. And thank you guys so much for joining the show again today. Happy Thanksgiving. If you're listening to this after Thanksgiving, I hope you guys had an amazing holiday, and stay tuned for more information. Next week, we're going to be talking more about spirituality, more about my spiritual journey, and some of the things that I had to work through, and all about creating your own belief system and all the things. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Comment below, like, share, subscribe, all the things, and I will see you next week.